Hello, dear children. Welcome back. I'm Dr. Jisha. As we all know, the COVID 19 pandemic has hit us very badly, and the Council for the Indian School Certificate Examination Board has reduced the syllabus in various subjects by almost 25% for the academic year 2020-21. And because of the pandemic, we know there is a significant shortening of the academic year, as well as a great loss of the instructional hours. And due to this, the council has reduced the syllabus, further brought about a reduction in the syllabus in various subjects for the present academic year. This video, I am applauding this in response to the request put forward by some of my students to give a detailed account of the new revised syllabus for class 10 ICSE biology. So here in the first unit, that is basic biology, we have the first chapter. The first chapter is a cell cycle and cell division. In cell cycle, you should know the different phases of cell cycle: cell division, mitosis and meiosis. The stages of mitosis you should know, and a brief understanding of crossing over, homologous chromosomes. All these you should know. And the significance and differences between mitosis and meiosis also should be studied. Then coming to the structure of chromosome, that is also there. You should know the basic structure of chromosome with special reference to the terms like chromatin, chromatid, the gene structure of DNA, and centromere. So that is with regard to the first unit, basic biology. That means we don't have the chapter genetics this year. So you just have that one chapter, structure of chromosomes, cell cycle and cell division, only from the first unit, basic biology. You don't have genetics. Now moving on to unit 2, plant physiology. You have the first chapter, that is absorption by roots. There you should know about imbibition, diffusion, osmosis, osmotic pressure, root pressure, turgidity, flaccidity, plasmolysis, deplasmolysis, active and passive transport. Everything you should know, the rise of water in the xylem, and the forces responsible for the ascent of sap. Almost the entire chapter is there. Then you should know the processes related to the absorption of water by roots, the characteristics of roots which make them best suited for absorbing water. You should know the structure of a fully grown root hair. You should have a general idea about the different types of forces like cohesive force, adhesive force, transpiration, pull, etc. And the various experiments in the chapter showing the conduction of water through the xylem. So almost the whole chapter is there. Then moving on to the next chapter, transpiration. The concept of transpiration and the importance of transpiration to plants you should know. Then Gannon's spotometer, its limitations, the factors affecting the rate of transpiration, experiments on transpiration, a brief, that is the experiments related to transpiration, like the loss in weight of a potted plant or a leafy shoot in a test tube as a result of transpiration. It can be asked as a diagram based question. Then use of cobalt chloride paper to demonstrate unequal rate of transpiration in dorsiventral leaves. That is also important. These are the two experiments that you should know from that chapter. Then mechanism of stomatal transpiration on the basis of potassium ion exchange theory. Okay, that is the theory which you have to give importance to. Then adaptations in plants to reduce transpiration. Then you should also know the difference between guttation and bleeding. So that is with regard to that chapter, transpiration. Now moving on to the next chapter, photosynthesis. Already the last chapter of that unit, chemical coordination, has been was not there in the first revised syllabus. That chapter has been cancelled. Now again in the further revised syllabus also that chapter is not there. Now moving on to photosynthesis, you should know the process of photosynthesis and the significance of photosynthesis. You should know the internal structure of chloroplast, giving special importance to the site of light reaction, dark reaction. Then you should know the experiments to show various experiments. There are a few experiments in that chapter. You should be clear with those experiments to show the necessity of light, carbon dioxide, chlorophyll, formation of starch, release of oxygen. Carbon cycle is also important there. Then opening and closing of stomata. Then overall balanced equation for photosynthesis, that is important, balanced chemical equation. Then the terms photochemical phase for light reaction and biosynthetic phase for dark reaction, the two reactions, the two phases of photosynthesis. Also you should know, okay, what are what happens during each phase, where does it take place, all this you should know. Then adaptations in plants for photosynthesis, and the diagrammatic representation of the carbon cycle is also important from that chapter. So I think almost the entire chapter is there. So that is from the second unit, plant physiology, we have only 3 chapters: absorption by roots, processes involved, transpiration, and photosynthesis. Chemical coordination is not there. Okay. Now moving on to the next unit, that is unit 3, human anatomy and physiology. The first chapter, circulatory system, is there. Okay. Blood, the composition of blood, structure, function of RBC, WBC, platelets. You should know what is tissue fluid, what is lymph. Then what are the reasons that make the mammalian red blood cells best suited for the transportation of oxygen? The absence of nuclei, the absence of mitochondrion, absence of endoplasmic reticulum, etc., which make the RBCs best suited for performing its function of transportation of oxygen. That you should know. We have studied all that. Then a brief idea of blood coagulation, blood clotting is important. Then structure and working of the heart, along with the names of the blood vessels entering and leaving the heart, liver, and kidney. Then systole, diastole. What is systole? What is diastole? The concept of double circulation is also important. Okay. Then brief idea of pulse and blood pressure, then blood vessels, artery, vein, capillaries, etc., with the help of diagrams. So you should know the diagrams of each of these vessels to bring out their relationship between the structure and the function. So coming when we talk about the blood vessels, only the names of the main blood vessels entering and leaving the heart, liver, and kidney will be required. Okay, that is also mentioned there. Then the brief idea of the lymphatic organs, spleen and tonsils, ABO blood group system, RH factor, significance of hepatic portal system, all these are important. So almost the whole chapter is there. The next chapter, moving on to the next chapter, that is excretory system. You should have a brief idea of the different excretory organs in the body. You should know the external and internal structure of the kidney, parts of the urinary system along with blood vessels entering and leaving the kidney, functions of the various parts of the urinary system, emphasis on diagram with correct labeling. So give importance to the diagram. Can be asked most probably as a diagram based question, or as a diagram, to draw the diagram a general idea of the structure of kidney tubule or nephron. So structure of nephron is also important there. Then a brief idea of ultrafiltration, emphasis on the diagram of Malpighian capsule. So study the structure of Malpighian, the diagram of Malpighian capsule, giving importance there. You should know what is ultrafiltration, the selective reabsorption, tubular secretion, and this should be studied in relation to the composition of blood plasma and the urine formed. So almost the entire chapter is there, the excretory system, the whole chapter is there. Yeah. Now moving on to the nervous system, the structure of neurons, the central nervous system, autonomous and peripheral nervous system in brief, brain and the spinal cord, reflex action and how it differs from voluntary action. So that is what you should know there. That is parts of a neuron, various parts of the external structure of brain and its parts, medulla oblongata, cerebrum, cerebellum, thalamus, hypothalamus, pons and their functions. So location and role you can expect from these. Then a reference to the distribution of white and gray matter in the brain and spinal cord can be asked as difference between the brain and spinal cord based on the location of white matter and gray matter. Then voluntary and involuntary actions with examples. So sometimes some actions will be given and you might be asked to identify whether they are voluntary or involuntary. Then diagrammatic explanation of the reflex arc. That is important. I told you while taking the class, I have already told you that is important. Showing the pathway from a receptor to effector. Then that is the reflex arc. That is important. A brief idea of the peripheral and autonomic nervous system in regulating the body activities. So almost all of it is there. Differences between natural reflex, acquired reflex. Then moving on to the structure of eye and ear. You should know the structure and function of the eye. The defects and the corrective measures are important. Ear also, the parts of the ear and functions of the ear. Okay, so a brief idea of stereoscopic vision, adaptation, accommodation of the eye. All these terms should be understood clearly. Then the defects of the eye, myopia, hyperopia, hypermetropia, presbyopia, astigmatism, cataract, and the corrective measures. But the diagrams are included for myopia and hyperopia only. Okay, the diagrams can be asked. Then the cause of perception of sound in the human ear, how the sound waves are perceived by the ear. Then the role of ear in maintaining balance of the body. I have uploaded a video on the functions of the ear. That is what it is. So almost the entire nervous system chapter is there. Then moving on to the next chapter, endocrine system. We should know the difference between endocrine gland and exocrine gland. We should know the location and shape of the various endocrine glands in the body. Okay, the following glands we should know. We should study the location and function of adrenal gland, pancreas, thyroid, and pituitary. Okay, pancreas, the hormones secreted by the glands, pancreas, thyroid, adrenal gland, that is cortical hormones as well as adrenaline, pituitary gland. Okay, the growth hormone, tropic hormones, ADH, oxytocin, all these hormones and their functions you should know. Then the effects of hyposecretion and hypersecretion of the different hormones, and a brief idea of the feedback mechanism with reference to the TSH, that is the thyroid stimulating hormone. So that chapter is also there. So from human anatomy and physiology, we have circulatory system, excretory system, nervous system and sense organs. and the endocrine system. That means reproductive system has been cancelled. According to the further reduced syllabus, reproduction chapter is also not there. So very happy, no? So already we don't have human evolution, population, pollution and chemical coordination was not there according to the first revised syllabus. Now the syllabus has been further revised, further reduced, and again 2 more chapters, genetics and reproduction has also been taken away. Okay, so very easy. If you put in a little effort, all of you can score very good marks. Okay, be thorough with each and every single concept in each chapter. Okay, so once again from unit 1 basic biology, we have only one chapter, structure of chromosomes, cell cycle and cell division. From unit 2 plant physiology, we have absorption by roots, transpiration and photosynthesis. Unit 3 human anatomy and physiology, we have circulatory system, excretory system, nervous system and sense organs, and endocrine system. So children, I hope you have got a basic understanding of the reduced syllabus for the present academic year. I hope what I have mentioned here is clear to you. If you have any doubts or suggestions, please ask your doubts and give your suggestions in the comment section. Thank you.